I'm the best in the world.
What I'd like to have right now.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Because I will fight for those cool.
Are you ready?
It doesn't matter!
Oh, I said, are you ready?
I'm a sexy beast, baby! I was up all night!
And I'm for life.
Welcome everybody to the For Life podcast, and happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there. I mean, by the time you listen to this, Mother's Day would have been yesterday, but anyways, happy Mother's Day. I don't know how many mothers listen to us besides Gigi, but happy Mother's Day. Your host, the Big Bosch Man. I'm not doing the Boscharaja this week because you shit on it last week.
I didn't shit on it, just caught me off guard.
I'll do it again if he wins the belt next week.
Okay, which I think he's going to, pal.
I hope so.
I hope so, too. Cheyenne Ortiz here, by the way.
Especially since Oren is
Mother's
pissing off
Day.
the Indies.
Happy, oh yeah, we'll get to that at the tail end. Happy Mother's Day to all. Happy belated Mother's Day to all. Happy Single Fathers Awareness Day.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I gotta get it in there. I gotta get Facebook heat. I gotta get Facebook heat for saying that. How dare I? I'm a bastard.
Yeah.
So, you know. Well, now, let's give a rundown. We're gonna talk Raw. We're gonna talk SmackDown. We got a couple little dirt tidbits here and there. I don't think anybody's nudes were hacked this week, right?
No, mine are still safe.
Well, no, I mean the WWE Divas. Gosh.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're safe too, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I know that, and we got a little bit of a scuffle between Randy Orton and Bully Ray that we're going to get into, and we're going to be covering WCW Slamboree 1999 in our old school review, and I got to tell you,
And we have like 18 more Slamborees for next week.
yeah, and I got to tell you, as soon as Tony Schiavone puts that on a
poll.
on a poll, you'll see me put forget password on my Twitter so I can sign in.
Was that a Russo reference? Put it on a poll?
What?
Put it on a poll?
You know, not to say that, I think it is. And then I'll give you all of your your ace results from last night. What a show last night was! I got to tell you, lots of history was made. Some of which I can't say on air. Yeah.
Oh, is it the Snapchat stuff? Or what I saw on Snapchat?
No, I'll tell that story, but I don't. I can't say it on the air. I can't because I'll get heat.
All right, you can tell me after.
Yeah, I should have said this before we went on. But now that we are on, let's talk Monday Night Raw. This was a tape show. Taped as in it was, emanating from the UK,
yeah.
Which of course means there's going to be a time difference. Now, Bosch, did you watch Raw this week, or did you do the Hulu thing again?
Hulu.
Now, did you at all read the result?
No, but there's a podcast that covers. They review a Raw. They go through everything, so I hear whatever I missed.
Well, when you say
I actually didn't read any spoilers though before.
When you say there's a podcast that covers what you missed, you mean this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, when you're talking about it.
Of course. I actually, this is the first time in a while. I mean, when I was in retail, I used to have to do it. Mm-hmm. But this is the first time in a while that I didn't, for a UK show, that I didn't read anything and I actually watched.
Yeah.
And I felt like I wasn't disappointed overall. Mm-hmm. Let's get right into it. Raw is going to open up, and Ambrose is backstage saying that Angle won't be there tonight. He's the acting general manager, quote unquote. So he comes out.
Is there a reason Angle wasn't there?
I don't know. It's not like an issue with the Hardy Boys, which was
because I know he just wrestled in England a few months ago.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was a travel thing. He couldn't make it. A signing. I don't know. Maybe he was there, but not on television. Let's not forget.
I would hope they didn't drag him out there to not do anything.
Well, I'm sure he didn't mind. Then we have The Miz come out and say he was appointed as the general manager on behalf of Stephanie McMahon. That they're going to have to work together tonight, but Extreme Rules, it will be a different story. Mm-hmm. They are then interrupted by Braun Strowman, who makes his way out to the ring with his arm in a sling. A thank you Strowman chant once again erupts, but Braun does not care who's in charge. He says he took out the big dog, Roman Reigns, and he's not finished with him yet, and he says all he wants, once he gets healed, is Brock Lesnar and the Universal Championship. This brings out the brick of the builded wall, the Pearl of Mexico, the Great Kalisto.
With a new theme song that I didn't recognize.
With a new 8-bit,
I was like, is fucking TJ Perkins coming out or TJP?
A new 8-bit theme song on behalf of Kalisto. So, the great Muta Kalisto comes out, cuts a promo. The crowd gets behind him, okay? I would have said because he didn't spray the mist when he came out, just saying. And he then begs for Dean Ambrose to put the two in a match, and he does exactly that. He then puts Miz in the opening match, and it's against Finn Balor. So, Miz and Finn Balor go back and forth. I really enjoyed this match. I think Miz has kind of like mastered how to get heat and how to be hated.
Yeah.
And he just kind of tops himself every week. Finn played the role of a chameleon because, to my knowledge, except for the multi last week, this was the first time that they wrestled one-on-one. Is that safe to say?
At least on TV, yes.
Yeah. So I enjoyed their back and forth. I loved it. However, it had a sour ending as we then get the Miz going to ringside, grabbing the mic, and announce that Balor's disqualified because he put his hands on an official, which was inadvertent. He announced himself the winner and still the number one contender for Ambrose's Intercontinental title. Ambrose comes out, restarts the match. Bell rings. Balor hits the sling blade. Drops the Miz again. Coup de grace for the win. We get some interaction between Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax. Basically, an alliance is made, but Nia Jax has to get a title shot at the end of it all. We then get Alexa Bliss versus Mickie James, the two of them look more and more stunning every week on television.
Lovely ladies. Happy Mother's Day to Mickie James.
Yeah. Yes, happy Mother's Day to Mickie James, never lady. And happy Mother's Day to Nia Jax.
Yes,
as well.
Yes.
To Nia Jax. Happy Mother's Day to Nia Jax. She has a child, right?
Yes, I forgot for a moment.
Yeah. Not including the child she's going to have with me. But she has one. Then we get the... After that match, Alexa Bliss ends up winning after some back and forth. Of course, at the hands of a distraction from Nia Jax. Bayley was also at ringside for this. Bayley was extremely over also. Ambrose is backstage. Miz and them go back and forth. And then apparently the former members of One Direction will be on Miz TV tonight. And Miz puts Ambrose in a match with Bray Wyatt. Strowman takes on Kalisto. Now, this was very, very interesting. Did you see this?
Yes.
Walk me through this, my friend.
I don't remember off the top of my head. Can you go through the results?
Excuse me, sir. Sir, we're trying to give fair, accurate results to our listening public.
So give the
all
results.
40 of them. But I'm trying to engage you. I'm trying to get that verbal ping pong.
You have to remind me so I can react to it.
I just told you it's Strowman and Kalisto.
How did this one? Oh, Roman came out, right?
Yeah.
Roman came out and they were like brawling through the arena.
Yeah.
And it led to Braun leaving because Braun actually did injure his shoulder, so
he'll be out 4 to 8 weeks estimated.
Yeah, so they're using this as kind of a way to keep Roman out of action for the next 2 months or so.
Yeah.
But I thought the brawl was pretty good. I mean, as always.
I thought it was cool, and I legit was like, no way Roman's going to come out, and he did.
Yeah, because I was pretty surprised.
And I was too, and it invoked the correct reaction. Laid in the leather on that chair. Just kind of made Braun retreat back into his cave, so I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Thought it was very well done. Then the match that, broke my heart, to be honest with you, the tag team turmoil match.
Yeah.
Man, broke my heart. Enzo and Big Cass, Sheamus, Cesaro, Slater, Rhino, Truth and Dust, Gallows, and Anderson. First two teams on this one were Big Cass and Enzo, where the winners take on the Hardy Boys, of course. And then Sheamus and Cesaro. Sheamus and Cesaro went back and forth.
Yeah. Back
and forth with Enzo and Cass. And they went back and forth with almost everyone. Eventually first eliminating Enzo and Cass after Enzo tapped out to the sharpshooter. Slater and Rhino were next. However, they got way more time than I thought they were, which I was very happy with.
Well, I guess because they just got to Raw, so they haven't really been established on Raw.
Yeah.
So it was good to see them get some time.
They got eliminated
at least on
the,
Hulu. This was my first time seeing them on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then Slater got the double team bro kick. Well, not double team, but Cesaro held him and just leveled him, whacked him. Gallows and Anderson came out next. In my mind, I would imagine it would either be Gallows and Anderson to get a upset victory over Sheamus and Cesaro, or just a regular victory since they have beaten them before.
Yeah. And by this point, they had already gone through 2 teams, so they
exactly, because I was hoping the Golden Truth would win. Gallows and Anderson came out quick, back and forth, bip, bip, bip. That led into Sheamus and Cesaro getting the victory on them as well. Now, Truth and Dust came out, and man, was I hoping they were going to win.
I was too.
And Goldust, every time Goldust is on TV, he amazes the shit out of me.
Yeah.
He really is still, to this day, a stellar wrestler, a stellar performer. And I really was hoping that him and R-Truth, Truth too. Truth hasn't aged a bit in the ring or out
Neither
of it.
Neither of them have.
You know, I still was hoping that Truth would get a WWE title win when he got brought over, because he was a big deal in TNA, especially if you saw the early days. Goldust, guy's a legend, self-explanatory. But unfortunately, Sheamus and Cesaro picked up the victory in the end. Your thoughts, Bosch?
I feel the same way you did. I was hoping that they would pick up the win, just the few promos leading into it, and I feel like Sheamus and Cesaro just had the match, but I guess they want to continue that feud, so it does make sense, and I guess they want them to look strong.
I don't think it was continue the feud so much establishing Sheamus and Cesaro as heels, because I think that's the more key thing for them right now, is to kind of get them over as heels, which of course in a couple weeks they'll start getting cheered, which they already are.
Yeah.
So that's just how that.
I think
goes.
having them up against the Hardys, who are pretty.
Oh yeah, that's the counter.
Like I feel like if they were up against Enzo and Cass, you might get a little bit of a split.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Enzo and Cass are over, but they're starting to get a little stale.
A little bit. They are.
Yeah.
Especially since they've been losing since Mania. So,
yeah.
You know, they got into the ladder match, and then the Hardys came out, and it's been downhill for them since then. You know, it's only May, but Mania does feel like it was already quite a bit ago.
Yeah.
The next match on this card, the Hardy Boys did come out. A lot of people were concerned if they were going to appear because of Jeff Hardy.
No, but I heard before the show that Jeff was cleared to go to Europe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I read that like a day or two before, like sometime last week.
Then we get Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins. Was this on your version?
Of course.
What do you think? Go ahead.
I thought it was a pretty good match. I feel like we're getting to the point where we've already seen this match a bit too many times in such a short span of time.
Agreed.
Where they're both good. They're both great wrestlers, but I feel like they get into this pattern where they have these good combinations, but then they do it so many times that you kind of just tune out, and it's like, okay, I've already seen this. What's the point, you know?
Yeah. The story is clearly there.
Yeah.
And I think also a lot of people were expecting, and maybe they still are expecting, like a stipulation match. So maybe that's what the build is.
Well, I'm guessing for Extreme Rules, a lot of these matches will get stips.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like
right now,
I mean, with Braun out, I don't know what they're gonna do with Roman at least.
Well, Joe and Rollins are definitely leading towards a no DQ or a submission match. Clearly.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rollins wins by DQ after Joe sends him head first into the steel. Then Joe's got the Coquita clutch on, keeps it locked in. Rollins fades out. Ref comes out. Joe stands tall, and you know Rollins is incapacitated.
Well, it's
Perkins and Gallagher.
It's 50-50 booking. We just had Rollins win at the pay-per-view. Now Joe's winning on Raw.
Oh no, I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it. Now we've got Perkins and Perkins and Gallagher. This, I'm guessing, was not on your Hulu version, right?
No, but I heard that Perkins is now going by TJP, and they kept repeating his name over and over again. Yeah,
he's now TJP. So I'm sure you'll see the nameplate change. I cannot talk tonight. The nameplate change going forward. He ends up getting the win with a handful of tights. Quick match. Considering that I've been raving about the cruiserweights for a couple weeks now, this one was just too quick for me to sink my teeth into. Now we got Neville and TJP pretty much have an alliance. They're going to work on Gallagher, but this brings out Aries with his knee brace. Now we got Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox. Pretty quick. Alicia Fox, however, does get some great offense in. She does get some great offense in, some back and forth. She's still very entertaining. Plays the cycle very well. Very believable for me. Sasha Banks gets the win from out of nowhere because I think she did the double knees in the corner. She didn't win with the regular bank statement thing. Oh. Yeah, she didn't win with that, which I thought was very, very
I'm trying to remember if this was on my Hulu version or if I just...
No, wasn't there.
I don't remember. It might have been.
Yeah, I thought it was really weird that she won with that corner spot, like her signature, if you will. And now it is main event time. Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose. I just did the JoJo ring announce. Pretty back and forth. These two are not unusual to each other. No pun intended. That's a lie. Pretty back and forth match. That's exactly what I'm saying, baby. Pretty back and forth with each other. Ambrose got the dive in. Wyatt did his back and forth, hit the elbows to the outside. Maurice was watching on. This was entertaining for me because we did not get the exploding TV this time.
Did we get a ghost?
Or we did not get a ghost, and we did not get the kendo stick to the throat. We didn't get any of those.
Then what the hell is the point of this match?
Nor do we get the Christmas tree, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Pretty back and forth. I enjoyed this match because it was the first time in what felt like a while since they had worked. Even though they just came from SmackDown, they hadn't worked each other in what felt like a bit. Mm-hmm. So something old can be new if it hasn't been seen in some time. I enjoyed the main event. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Since I have been back and forth on my opinion of Ambrose, there was one line in the opening promo when he's on the phone with Angle that I popped for, where he says, I have an idea for the next pay-per-view name, which was Great Balls of Fire.
Oh, yes.
So I thought it would have been... I thought they should have just ran with it and had that be the explanation that Ambrose just came up with the name for it.
Okay.
Just because it would have been something weird and it would have been pretty funny.
That's true. That's cool. Look at you starting to like Dean Ambrose and shit.
No, I popped for that line. I thought it was funny because it would make sense coming from him, from his character.
And thanks to some interference from The Miz, Wyatt hits Sister Abigail, goes to the pin, and gets the 3 count. Mm-hmm. Miz then just starts wailing away on Ambrose, takes the mic, says that Ambrose and the whole world will know that he is an awesome Intercontinental Champion. He does the I'm the Miz and I'm awesome gimmick, and Raw signs off.
I thought that was
Heels
good.
Go up. I enjoyed it for a tape show that I tend to just kind of bypass in the year.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I thought it was great having Roman and Braun on. I thought it was a great explanation that kept them both strong and relevant. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. SmackDown, however, I heard was pretty mixed this week. I know it didn't do great in the ratings from what I read. What did you take of it when you saw it? Run me through SmackDown.
All right. I'm going to have to refresh my own memory here. Okay. Orton comes out for a promo. He says he didn't lose the House of Horrors because of Wyatt or the damn refrigerator. He lost because of Jinder. And then this prompts Jinder to come out with the Singh boys, and he says that Backlash will be the age of the Maharaja.
That's right.
And then he speaks in Punjab, and then Kevin Owens comes out. Kevin Owens says nobody cares about Orton or India or England. And he's the new face of America. Then this prompts AJ Styles to come out, cuts a promo on everybody, which prompts Baron Corbin to come out, and then he's cutting a promo when Sami Zayn comes out and attacks him. So surprise, surprise.
So what do we have? 4 or 5 guys out?
6.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
So the main event. Guess what the main event is?
I'm gonna say it's a 6-man tag match, player.
You got it.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay. Then they confirmed the main event: Natty versus Becky Lynch.
Oh, how was that?
I thought it was a decent match. Natty picked up the win after Tamina distracted her, and the girl ends up in a big brawl, and then the girls are finally backstage. Charlotte's arguing with Naomi about why Becky lost, and then the 3 of them finally end up joining forces to take on the welcoming committee. And they've been calling themselves like the Powerpuff Girls on social media. I hope that's just a social media thing, and I hope they're not going to go by the fucking Powerpuff Girls. That's worse than the welcoming committee or the sorority submission.
Oof, forgot about that.
Another Fashion Files segment. This one wasn't as good as the first. This one was funny, but it wasn't as good as that first one, the one that I sent you. They were backstage. There was red paint all over the place, and they thought it was from the Uggos, but then it's just the Ascension in some closet yelling.
Oh, which, by the way, the first one you sent me was hysterical.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan. At one point, Rowan starts talking to the mask, tries to use it as a weapon, and then he hits Harper with a thumb in the eye and hits his finisher for the win. After the match, Ziggler comes out. He says the fans are hypocrites. He said... And these two still haven't touched, right? Well, they did on this one.
Okay.
Well, I think last week, Dolph went for his super kick and Shinsuke pushed his leg. So,
yes, you're right. You are right.
So this one, another line that I popped for this week where he says... He's been here for 8 years, but it feels more like 12, because the Dolph character's been here for 8 years, but he was also there as the Spirit Squad and the caddy for Kerwin White in 2005, so he has been there 12 years. He said that Shinsuke still hasn't had a match on SmackDown Live, and the crowd starts chanting NXT, and Ziggler says, oh, they're going to edit that out, which I'm surprised they left on. Then Nakamura comes to the ring, and then the two go at it. Ziggler actually has the upper hand and kind of mounts him and starts kicking his ass, and then finally Nakamura gets up and sends him to the floor. So, I mean, and then Ziggler teases that they're going to have the match then and there, and then he says, nope, Backlash.
Okay.
So that got a lot of heat, because I think the fans were excited thinking that they were going to get the match. Ascension versus Breezango, nothing special, and obviously Breezango won heading into their tag match.
Okay.
The Usos come out and cut a pretty good promo on them, telling them they have 12 days before Backlash, and just kept repeating 12 days, and thought it was pretty decent. Oh, God, this segment was horrible. Mojo was backstage with a group of kids, and he was giving them a tour of the arena. Then he shows off his Andre the Giant trophy and starts giving like this motivational speech about it. And then one of the little kids kicks Mojo in the leg, and then he gets pissed off and then laughs it off. It was really, really, like, everything leading up to the kid kicking him was good. And then it just got... Then finally the main event. Thought it was a pretty good match for these 6. With the pay-per-view coming up, I'm going to give you one guess what the finish of this match was.
With the pay-per-view coming up?
Backlash. And the main event is Jinder and Orton. What do you think the finish was?
And they were in the match, right?
Yeah, 6-man.
Orton hit the RKO?
No.
What was it?
Jinder got the pin on Orton.
But is this the go-home?
No, go-home is next week.
And they did the Jinder pin now?
Yeah.
Okay.
He hit him with that Cobra clutch slam. Every time I see him do this Cobra clutch slam, I can just see that it's going to be reversed into an RKO. Just the way it's set up, where he picks up Orton and like he's in perfect position to catch him with an RKO.
I'm not mad that they did the Jinder thing.
But now. I think they had to make him look believable going into the pay-per-view.
So my question is, if you have him, get the best of Orton again, right?
Yeah.
Next week, what does he do? Because he hit his finish. He pinned him, stood tall with the belt. He's been stealing the belt. Do you put faith back in Orton next week? Or do you continue to build the rising Phoenix or some other town in Arizona that is the Maharaja?
I don't know. I mean, usually whoever is the one that's standing tall on the go-home is the one to lose at the pay-per-view.
Not always, but most times, yeah.
But, I mean, that's usually like the formula.
Yes, without question.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, do you give Orton the upper hand, or he reverses the move into the RKO just to kind of show that he could reverse it into the RKO out of nowhere?
No, I would save that for the pay-per-view. Especially if you're
would that be the
kind of
finish?
blatant. Like if I watched it, like if you didn't tell me and I saw it, would I have said it?
Even when he did it for the first time to Orton at the House of Horrors, the first thing I thought was, "Oh my God, he's gonna reverse that into an RKO." I mean, if he's been he's been able to reverse fucking Shooting Star Press into an RKO. Like this one he's literally
the first one that he did when he reversed the fucking attitude adjustment at bragging rights.
Yeah,
I was like, Orton's been taking that move for like 3 years now. That's the first time he's ever done that counter, and it was fucking amazing.
I remember when we tried to do the choke slam. I tried to do the choke slam spot with Pichon, and he like fucking busted my lip open with his watch trying to do that. The choke slam into an RKO.
I remember that.
That was the one. That was the show we did for the kids. The only time I fucking bled was for the kids.
Yeah, they got your body and soul. No, I would save the RKO counter if it's as blatant as you say. For the pay-per-view.
Like if you watch him,
why wait to pop on free TV?
Watch him do the finish. Like it's probably the easiest move to catch the RKO with.
Well, it's a Cobra clutch, so
a Cobra clutch slam.
In true reality, it depends on how Jinder has it laced because Orton has the cravat already on.
Yeah, but the way he picks him up is in that position. I don't know. I mean, if it doesn't happen, he will at one point, whether he wins this match or not, he will at one point reverse that move into an RKO.
I would have Jinder go up again at the end of next week's SmackDown.
So, I mean, right now, this is do you see Jinder winning next week? The belt?
Do I see Jinder winning next week? I feel like none of us can answer that. I can tell you who I want to win.
I want him to win. I want him to win. I'm 50-50 on this one.
No, I'm not 50-50, and I'm a big Randy Orton guy. I want Jinder Mahal.
I want Jinder to win, but as far as who I think will win, I'm stuck in the middle. I want Jinder to win all the way. I'm stuck.
I guess I'm stuck in the middle because I feel like you can't even tell who.
It can go either. No, that's that's the same thing I just said. I've said we're both in the same boat. We want Jinder to win, but we're stuck in the middle as to who we think will actually win.
Yeah.
Because when they did JBL and Guerrero, JBL didn't win the belt the first time. He won it in the second match, right?
Yeah, JBL Guerrero was the no contest.
Oh, the first one was the bloodbath, and then it was the bull
that was
rope
why,
match.
and then the second one was the bull rope.
So do you extend this program and have Jinder win it at another pay-per-view, or do you have Jinder win it?
But the
at least
problem is
get some more.
Whatever they do with Jinder has to be different because exactly what we just mapped out, and we brought up JBL 2 weeks ago. If they do that, they're going to go and compare it to JBL.
The formula is JBL, where it's you have somebody that's. I mean, if anything, Jinder is lower. JBL was like mid-card tag team, and
that's not true because now if he loses, he's a top-level star now.
Good for him. I'm glad they're making these stars. I'm just saying, prior to a month and a half ago, Jinder was towards the bottom of the card.
Yes.
I mean, he lost to Mojo the week before he became #1 contender. He lost to Mojo in a squash match. I mean, look how shocked we were when he made it into the final 2
of the
Andre battle.
The Andre, yeah.
Would this fall into my theory of? Well, the Andre Battle Royal was the second match on the pre-show, and he was the last one eliminated from the second match and is now the #1 contender. So would that count towards my theory?
No.
Because it's second match on the main show. Fuck.
There you go. That's my philosophy on the whole Jinder thing.
I mean, if you think back to 2004, which was, I think we met around the time that this happened, was... I don't like where were we when the whole JBL thing happened?
Me and you met, and JBL was already champion, #1.
Because I think we met in like when did you come into EZW? It would have been like April or May, right?
Late April.
Okay, and JBL didn't win until like May or June. But I think by the time we met, he was challenging for the belt.
Yeah. Who was JBL's replacement again? Who did he replace?
I mean, Brock ended up leaving when that happened.
Brock left. Angle was doing the GM thing. It was
because
right?
Angle was hurt, so he did the whole GM thing after the feud with Eddie. So yeah, we met right before JBL was starting his program,
and the character got over and it got real heat.
Yeah,
Plus, by the way, for those of you, even though it's been discussed on the Bruce Pritchard show, Eddie Guerrero rather, well, the Radicals have been discussed. There has been no Eddie Guerrero episode
yet. That was
an
amazing fucking episode.
For those of you, that's the one that apparently put them on the map.
Yeah, that was like the first one that really put them on.
That blew up. For those of you who are Eddie Guerrero fans, JBL fans, and we've mentioned in the last 3 minutes, on the Judgment Day episode, which was 2 episodes ago, because he just came out one Friday, so the one before that, on the Judgment Day 2002 episode of the Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard show, they heavily outline what happened with the JBL Eddie Guerrero's mom heart attack angle, including the
Wait, that wasn't the Judgment Day they covered was 2002.
Correct, but they discussed the opening match on that show. Well, the dark match was D'Lo Regal. The opening match was the 5-star versus the Frog Splash.
Yeah.
And Conrad hit Bruce with, do you have any Eddie memories, Eddie stories?
Yeah.
And the one that Pritchard brought up was the heart attack angle in El Paso.
Yeah.
And it was mapped out very, very well, the story and what happened. And there was a lot of preparation into it. So that little tidbit in the first, not even 30 minutes of the show, I definitely recommend people listening to.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what else I recommend?
What?
Hey, I recommend that if anybody needs a logo or any graphic design needs, they go down over to Kayfabe Cover Kingdom. How about you?
Oh, I definitely agree. He's already done a ton of logos for me.
Kayfabe Cover Kingdom, a.k.a. Cheyenne Ortiz's West Coast bestie. Kayfabe Cover Kingdom. You need a logo. You need something.
Happy birthday, by the way. His birthday was a few days ago.
That's right. And happy belated birthday to Cheyenne Ortiz's Bay Area bestie, Kayfabe Cover Kingdom. You need a logo for your softball team. Hey, how about something snazzy for your home or office? Or how about a logo that just says, I have an ego? Take a look at it. Hey, if you need something to get...
Oh, like all of mine?
Well, I was trying to leave you out of it. If you need something for T-shirts, for jackets, for hats, for scarves, for blankets, for leggings, whatever you need. My main man, Kayfabe Cover Kingdom, will get you all started. And if you need any proof, go to the For Life Facebook page and see all the great logos he's made for us. You need more proof? Hey, wrestlers, you want to get a T-shirt out there? You want to get a hat out there? You want to get one of those 8x10 videos with your logo in the corner? My main man, my Bay Area bestie, Kayfabe Cover Kingdom, will get you all started because he's done logos for everybody, including my main man, the Jurassic Juggernaut, Vince Steele, a.k.a. my main man. He just recently did his brand new Jurassic Juggernaut logo, which looks sensational. And if you want to see it, you can go to Instagram and find Vince Steele there at VinceSteele21, or you can go right to Kayfabe Cover Kingdom. Instagram, at username Kayfabe Cover Kingdom. Take a look at all of his work. He'll also get your DVD covers and posters ready for you. Show promoters. You want a poster done? That's the man to get in touch with. My main man for awesome prices. Tell him that Cheyenne sent you. Kayfabe Cover Kingdom.
Perfect.
I would do the commercial right after that. Fuck that.
All right.
That fucking A. I just did a Don West. It ain't getting better than that.
Hey, For Life listeners, this is The Cap here with Mike the Finance Guy and Ralph the Tech, inviting you to check out our Geektastic podcast, Meanwhile 22 Pages Later.
So if you're a Whovian, a lover of capes and tights, a gamer, or a TV movie watcher, and you want some very honest reviews from some very funny guys,
check out our podcast. It's on iTunes and also on SoundCloud. And if you want to join in the discussion, check out our Facebook page. Oh, and by the way, that 22 is the number.
Now, back to Bosch and Cheyenne.
And we're back. So this week's show that we covered, it was a close one, but we went with Slamboree 1999, headlined by DDP and Kevin Nash, which Cheyenne is watching right now. I watched this show throughout the day. It was tough to watch straight through. And I really, like I was mentioning to you off the air, like I really don't remember much from WCW in 99.
Well,
or pretty much anything after they changed the logo to whatever that thing is they have.
As far as I'm concerned, 1999, especially since 2001 with the advent of digital cable, this is the beginning of the end for hot boxes and pretty much the era where you had to order the pay-per-view and pay for it.
My hot box lasted till like 2004 or 5.
Oh, wow, you got pretty lucky then.
I think
a lot of people had it all the way to 2006 from what I remember.
I think,
but
it
became much more of a nuisance after the advent of digital cable.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
So I don't remember ordering WCW pay-per-views at this point. This is in the era, excuse me. I really cannot talk tonight.
I don't remember
ordering
any pay-per-views.
Of when I was renting the tapes when they came out.
Which would probably be like
get them
4 or 5 months later.
Yeah, or I would get them from a friend of mine who would record them and then give it to me the next day from a cousin or something like that. This one I have never seen before.
Even when I wasn't really watching, I would still try to catch all the pay-per-views. Like I was mentioning, like there's certain things from 99 I remember. Like I remember DDP winning the belt the first time, and like the rest of the stuff is like stuff with the filthy animals for some reason. Because I can only track back to Mysterio being unmasked, to the Rap is Crap, and Disco making fun of Conan's video. Maybe I was just a mark for the filthy animals at the time, so that's all I can remember. And by that point, the NWO was pretty much, as we saw on this show, nothing.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I had the opposite. As I was watching the show, I was remembering the storylines, the lead-ins, the angles, the build-ups, and pretty much what happened after, because this is May.
Like, I remember, when did Macho Man, like, this version of Macho Man come back with What Up Mach and all the girls?
A little
after. That.
Okay, so January is Super Bowl, right? And that's when they
January would have been sold out.
So February Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So that's when they did Hogan Flair in the barbed wire steel cage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
and I know DDP wins the belt at Spring Stampede for the first time.
Which is what month again? April.
Wait, so...
April, right? A Spring Stampede?
So he won the belt a month prior to that, but he was already a 2-time champion?
Yeah.
Okay, WCW.
Yeah, because remember, he got it back from Sting.
Mm-hmm.
He got it, Sting beat him on a Nitro, then he got it back. Also, at Spring Stampede is when Macho Man came back as the enforcer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when he came back.
Well, because he was the ref for that match when DDP
won
the belt. Yeah.
And he was back the very next night.
Yeah.
Very next night on Nitro, he's back ever since. And I don't think he starts wrestling on Nitro until even a month after this show.
Well, because they're doing the whole storyline where they're banning him from wrestling. So maybe he was injured or something at the time?
Well, he's banned from wrestling because he helped DDP win the belt. That's why.
Okay.
Because he interfered and cost Ric Flair, the president,
the
title. Because remember, Sting. Let me catch everybody up to this.
Okay, thank you. Catch me up. I mean, I love. First, I just want to say I love the promo where Flair's talking about being the president, but he's saying the same exact line, but in one version he's calm about it, and the other one he's fucking screaming. So it's like, I'm the president. I'm the president. I'm the boss.
Yeah.
I'm the boss. I thought that was fucking hilarious.
So at the beginning of the year, we still see the NWO black and white.
The beginning of the year would have been the finger poke.
Beginning of the year, yes, is the finger poke of doom. Ric Flair is still battling the NWO Elite. It culminates at Super Bowl in the barbed wire steel cage match between Flair and Hulk Hogan, which Flair is already in control of WCW after defeating Eric Bischoff on a Nitro to gain control of the company for 90 days.
Okay.
At this event, before the main event happens, mind you, there is a build-up to turn Flair babyface. It's this emotional win on Nitro. The crowd's behind him. At the Super Bowl cage match, he turns heel before the match starts.
Okay.
Before the match even starts, he cuts some promo, he turns heel, and then to top it off, the crowd turns against him, similar to the Ronnie Garvin cage match in 1988, except the other way around. The crowd got behind Hogan in the match, and Flair gets the title with the help of Arn and Asia and all those people. Okay, so Flair's in charge.
Is Hogan in black and white?
Yeah, Hogan's in red, black, and white.
Okay.
Hogan is elite.
Okay.
Hogan is elite. So Flair's in charge. He turns heel before the cage match. He wins the belt, and he wins the belt with Charles Robinson's help, who's clearly in his pocket. That's February.
So is the NWO babyfaces?
No, the NWO is not babyface.
Okay.
NWO is not babyface. Flair turned heel, but the NWO is not babyface.
I mean, I was more confused with this show as well, and I'll get into that after we recap the whole show. We're going to try to string this together and figure out who's face and who's heel.
Yeah. So that's how that happens. I want to go into, that's February. I want to look up real quick what the, hold on, excuse me, I'm on Wikipedia. I want to look up what the March paper, actually, you know what? Hold on, I'll get into Uncensored real quick, because guess what I just found?
What did you just
While we're on the air. I found the attendance for this show.
Okay.
That I couldn't find earlier.
Which was?
Okay, and they drew 20,516.
Okay, that's a good number.
It's a big arena, which I'm going to touch on in this show, actually. So before this, okay.
It's a wrestling capital.
Uncensored. It's a wrestling capital, yes, I did catch that. Okay, Uncensored, let's go to 99, which is at Freedom Hall. Kevin Nash, so Wolfpack is still around in Uncensored. Okay, so I got this wrong. So the cage match that I just totally outlined for everybody that's listening happened at Uncensored.
Okay.
Oh, and I'm going to correct myself. Super Bowl was when David Flair turned on his father.
Okay.
That's what that happened. So they do the Flair-Hogan match at Super Bowl where the masked man reveals himself to be David Flair because Flair had Hogan in the figure 4 and Flair got tasered, okay? Mind you, Flair's already pushing 50. Just want to say that. And he got tasered on live TV by his own son. Okay. Following month, Uncensored, the barbed wire steel cage match. Flair gets the win, turns heel. He's got the ref, your mother, your sister's ass, the Pony Express helping out. Okay, now we go from Uncensored, we go back to Spring Stampede. Now it's a four corners match.
Yeah.
Sting comes back to WCW on a Nitro. Flair is featured in what I'm going to say was a three-way match between himself, DDP, and Hogan. Then, out of nowhere, Sting finally returns to WCW after being gone for several months due to injury. He doesn't say a word in typical Sting fashion. I cannot talk tonight. In typical Sting fashion, stays mute, takes the baseball bat, and this time points at the screen, where you just see like this raving inferno, where a familiar voice announces that at Spring Stampede there'll be a four corners match for the WCW title featuring Flair the champion, Hogan, DDP, and Sting. And the voice is the man who will referee. Ooh, yeah. It's the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
I figured.
We go to Spring Stampede. Very good match, by the way, considering who's in it, the different backgrounds, age, innovation. One of WCW's first four-way matches.
I mean...
Highly recommend watching it.
They're not the greatest... they're all good. They're all good workers, and they're all good storytellers, so I'm not surprised that it wasn't.
But they're used to doing one-on-one. Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
In that match,
I
Flair
remember.
does
I mean,
in fact-
I remember seeing that match live though, so it was a good match, and I do like that.
Yeah.
I remember seeing in '99.
It was amazing.
So
And
I mean, I
that
probably
was-
did watch Slamboree. I just didn't. It just wasn't memorable.
Mind you, it was already done 6 years earlier in ECW, but that was the first time I ever saw the three sleeper hold spots because it was Paige, Hogan, and I think.
But
Sting.
more eyeballs had access to this than the ECW one.
Yeah. So Spring Stampede, Flair's got the figure four locked in on DDP. Out of nowhere, Randy Savage elbows Ric Flair, and then Paige hits the Diamond Cutter. And when Randy Savage's assist becomes a world champion, Flair goes on this tirade where he is the president of the United States, and he gets sent to a loony bin.
Well, that was in the recap video. Yeah.
Roddy Piper is the interim commissioner of WCW, and all this different chaos ensues, and that leads to the birth of Little Nate, a.k.a. Charles Robinson. Macho Man comes out with Team Madness, which is Mona, Miss Madness 1999, Medusa all of a sudden, who had not been seen in what felt like ages, and his new valet, Gorgeous George.
Well, she was his
wife. Correct. And so on and so forth. Another quick tidbit. Let's not forget, we have not seen Randy Savage since the December 31st, 1998 edition of Nitro, when he helped Ric Flair win the world title. So it was extremely confusing when all of a sudden, when he helped Ric Flair gain control of WCW. Now all of a sudden he screws him out of the world title at Spring Stampede. Here we are now at WCW Slamboree, where all sorts of things have happened, including Diamond Dallas Page is already on his second WCW title reign after defeating Sting on a Monday Nitro. We now have Kevin Nash, who seems to be his own solo entity while still partially representing the Wolfpack. Now,
well, that's what I was confused about because...
well, at Uncensored, there was still the Wolfpack, but this is when Kevin Nash becomes his own entity because I think Lex gets hurt. Because if you kind of see, this is when people are in angles just to be in angles. If you notice, there's only 3 guys in NWO Black and White at this point.
Oh, God,
there is no
yes.
there is no Wolfpack mention or reference.
Well, the music.
That doesn't count. I'm talking like as a group, as an entity, because the month prior at Uncensored, if I'm not mistaken, Nash came out with Liz and Lex for his match.
Because Super Brawl would have been when they did the unmasking, where it was Ray's mask versus Liz's hair. Another show I saw.
That was it. So there's a lot of different variables involved in this matchup. The Four Horsemen, while they quote-unquote still exist, are not being seen with or supported by Ric Flair.
Yeah, because they're not
linked. The Four Horsemen are still an entity.
On this, I mean, Arn is the only common link because they're not linked to Flair at all on the show. There was no indication
Once
that
Flair
they were
gains control of WCW, the Horsemen disband.
But they came out to the Horseman music with Arn.
They came out to the Horseman music with Arn, but that was only because the only 2 Horsemen really were Malenko and Benoit.
Yeah.
They were never seen with Ric Flair. And if I'm not mistaken, I know Malenko gets to work.
That's not necessary out there. I'm shooting a podcast. I don't want to hear that.
Excuse me?
Those people playing fucking 50 Cent outside.
Fuck them. They can find me in the club if they got a problem. Malenko, if I'm not mistaken, gets to wrestle Flair on a Thunder, even.
Okay.
So you saying the common link is Arn is a great statement. There's just
Arn
all
companies
types of different shit.
Both of them.
Yeah, and Russo's not even here yet, exactly. And on this one, we do see the return of another familiar face. It's Slamboree, 1999, in St. Louis, Missouri, and the attendance is 20,516 people compared to the 15,000 the year prior. This is a huge arena, particularly with lots of floor and mid-bowl seating. The opening contest is what I thought would be the match of the night. It's a 3-way tag team match.
I'm going to say this now. I know I always wait till the end of the show to ask this, but this is the only match I can see getting over in today's business.
No, because in today's business, the hardcore match would have got over.
No.
Yes.
That shit was horrible.
Yes. The hardcore match would have gone over.
I think, this one would have still been match of the night if that show took place today.
Oh, without question. And match of the night in question
Especially now because tag team wrestling has been on an upward swing over the last few years. especially like an NXT and WWE.
This would have been the NXT match.
Yeah, because I feel like they would. And it's crazy if you look at this match. You had two guys that would go on to win the belt at win the Rumble and win the belt at WrestleMania, Mysterio and Benoit, and you had three guys who would go on to be agents for the company.
That's correct.
Malenko, Kidman, and Arn.
That's right.
And I'm sure if Raven wanted to, he can definitely be an agent for the company. He just chooses not to, but he's really smart.
Plus, he has the lawsuit. Don't forget.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was on that Hardcore title DVD.
But if I'm not mistaken, he has a lawsuit with them.
Because he was him, Foley, and RVD were the hosts.
And RVD, I know.
Yeah. And he's appeared on I think he was in Foley's DVD.
He was on Foley and Paul Heyman's DVD.
Yeah.
Raven and Saturn take on Malenko and Benoit against Kidman and Rey Mysterio, who are in fact the tag team champions. Kidman and Saturn.
Tell me Mysterio didn't look like Pichon.
He did. He did. Mm-hmm. Without the facial hair. He did.
Well, the overalls.
Oh, hands down. Kidman and Saturn go after Malenko immediately, almost at the beginning of the bell. Rey Mysterio is clearly already over as hell in 1999, and considering he was just unmasked just a month prior, he is still over as hell. The St. Louis crowd is completely all over him. Mm-hmm. We are seeing one of the most forgotten competitors of the 90s. I'm talking about Perry Saturn. He is tremendous in this match, putting it all on the line with his signature suplexes, his springboarding, and his no-nonsense, no-care attitude. Perry Saturn was a legit badass, trained by Killer Kowalski, and one of the best wrestlers of the 90s as well. I got to see something today that I hadn't seen in some time in this match, and I realized how much I fucking hate it. And that is the 1999 Four Horsemen logo. How fucking stupid is that logo?
As stupid as the WCW logo in 99.
I don't know about that. The WCW 99 logo compared to the Horseman logo, shit, the WCW logo looks like fucking the
That's the logo that Arn had on his shirt, right?
The one on the tights of both guys.
Okay.
Perry Saturn, it's just tremendous offense to this matchup. Raven hitting the Three Amigos suplexes, and all these quick spots by Rey Mysterio, by Benoit, by Malenko. But the workhorses of this match, Mysterio, Saturn, and I'm going to give it to Benoit as well.
Yeah.
They were just doing the thing. We got the double A spine buster, which made me pop and mark out. Let's go to the finish, Bosch.
Yeah.
Let's go to the finish. Take it away.
A masked man came out and pushed, Kidman off the rope, right?
Yeah. Straddled him into the rope, yeah.
Yeah, and led to Raven and Saturn winning the tag titles, and it was revealed to be Canyon wearing a DDP shirt. And I feel like him and DDP, I never knew where they... anytime I go back to watch an old show, they're either fucking best friends or they're feuding with each other.
Well, we'll get to that too, actually, because I'm actually going to touch on that during the show.
Okay.
Let's also remember that Arn has just drilled Saturn with the spine buster, right?
Yeah.
Malenko's got Saturn in the cloverleaf, but Raven has got the pin over there on Kidman.
Yeah.
And the referee decides to count Raven.
Who were the legal men?
I don't remember, but I can check for you.
They pointed out that the referee kept looking over to see if Saturn was tapping.
Which he was. He was tapping.
I mean, I guess it sets up rematches.
Yeah. I didn't.
I mean, it sets up matches because then you have the Horsemen getting him to tap, but then you also have Kidman and Mysterio with the rematch clause.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I was like...
I loved it.
I was excited. I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a fun show."
Yeah, we get a quick shitty DDP video package that contains no action shots. Then we get NWO Black and White represented by Stevie Ray with.
Was this the entire NWO Black and White?
Yes.
Because whenever I hear of the NWO at their lowest point. These are the three names that are always associated with it. It was fucking.
I think there were more members of NWO Black and White.
But these are
the Thunder.
Well, these are the three that always get referenced, and it was funny to see the three of them together.
Yeah, because it's like wow.
And they said that Stevie Ray was the fucking leader.
Yeah, Stevie Ray won a battle royal on Thunder to become the leader.
Was it a battle royal within the NWO members?
Yeah.
It's weird because I'm also watching 97 to keep up with Sullivan's podcast, and it's like. They're at their peak, and then I'm also watching 2000 and watch it for another podcast, and all that's left of the NWO is Jeff Jarrett and the Harris Brothers.
Yep, that was NWO Silver.
Yes,
with Jarrett. Stevie Ray comes to the ring with Vincent and Horace. They're going to take on Conan, and this match I noticed that I cannot talk tonight. that Conan loves salad. He loves it.
I'm kind of happy I didn't know what that meant at this age. At that time.
Same.
Like, listening to now, I'm like, oh, that's fucking disgusting. Back then, I was like, what is he talking about? Potatoes and salad. Okay, that sounds cool.
Yeah, and then to think they put that on the WCW Mayhem CD. They wonder why it didn't sell. Stevie Ray, underrated big man. It was good to see him in the ring.
Yeah.
Even though there's this one spot where Stevie Ray's face is nowhere near Conan's fucking foot. Commentary, I felt like should have saved this because I know if I didn't cover that,
well, it's funny because Shivani's always putting over how close him and Stevie Ray are on his show.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Also, this kind of showcases the biggest difference between WCW commentary and WWF commentary.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, especially on Nitro, and I'm not saying this is Shivani, Heenan, Tenay, Lee Marshall, Zbyszko, anybody's fault, but sometimes we're talking so much about the main story, particularly on the Nitros, the NWO, that they would not call the action. Mm-hmm. And then they would just come out of nowhere. So tonight, the NWO, whoa! And then they would have to go into the big move.
Yeah.
Because they were just walking you through or conversing or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. So that was something that I brought up. Yeah. What I didn't like about this match was the Rey Mysterio run-in. Because the ref turned around and caught him blatantly.
I mean, it's not like stuff like that still happens today. But...
Yeah, I know. Then Kevin Nash gets a shitty video package.
These video packages were hard. Except for the DDP Nash right before their match, just with the fucking photos.
Rick Steiner's doing the WCW.com spot. Sting gets a shitty video package. And then we go to Bryan Knobs versus Bam Bam Bigelow. Take it away, Bosch.
Fuck this match. This shit was hard.
Why?
It was one of those, like, it's so bad, but you can't look away.
I loved it. That match was entertaining as hell. That was pretty much the beginning of the WCW hardcore era.
Okay.
Which
there were little...
Bryan Knobs were staples of, especially Knobs.
Well, they're kind of late to the party because ECW was already doing it for 5 years, and WWE's been doing it for about a year and a half or so.
But also, if I'm not mistaken, similar to what happened to him with TNA, I think Russo's already email booking WCW at this time.
Probably.
Because a lot of this whole production seems very much like a WWF pay-per-view at times. You have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Knobs and Bam Bam go at it. I'll tell you one thing that I can't.
My favorite spot was when they were both holding the trash can above their head and smashing themselves and each other.
Yeah.
I popped for. Yeah, that was weird. Why did they come out to no music?
No music. There was a horrible drop kick, trash can botch. Knobs
the whole match was a botch.
Knobs is swinging that trash can against Bam Bam's back like he's trying to put him in a fucking wheelchair. Bam Bam Bigelow invented the big ending because he hit it in this match. Mm-hmm. The ending was real messy. What was the end, boss? Go ahead, tell him.
It was towards the stage that they did the ending. I didn't even really care. Like, I know, I looked up and then the match was over.
They did a dive,
and it's crazy because they kept. When you have all of these spots and one chair shot later in the show, overshadowed that whole match.
Yeah.
As far as hardcore, because it was all trash cans and cooking sheets.
Yeah. And a bucket. Bam Bam gets the win after a suplex into a table. Booker T versus Rick Steiner. Your thoughts? Because believe it or not, I was not into this match. And do you need me to catch you up on this angle, by the way?
No, but I was just going to say,
you remember it?
I felt bad saying that I wasn't into this match because they're both great wrestlers, but
I wasn't either. I really wasn't.
Yeah, because I was like, what? I think considering the two guys that were in it, I expected more.
But it got better at the end.
Oh yeah, and then Scott Steiner runs in to help Rick, and this is the first time that they're together after the split over a year earlier. When Scott Steiner became Big Papa Pump.
Also remember, they're teasing on the other side, plus his gear, a possible Booker T to NWO turn.
Yeah, so they're pretty much teasing, pretty much both guys going with their brothers in the NWO.
Right.
Okay.
What's the next one?
Next match, I gotta look it up. Would it have been the Little Nate?
I haven't yet. It's Little Nate versus Gorgeous. I'll let you do this one.
This match entertained the hell out of me. I think it exceeded my expectations. Little Nate was in there bumping and taking moves. I wasn't expecting that much out of him. And
yeah,
I mean,
gorgeous, good bumps too.
Gorgeous George was cute. I thought she was really attractive, so she was fun to watch. I guess
Flair Arn and Randy are just professionals in this match.
Oh, of course, and I found the match entertaining. I think the only other like intergender match of this era that I can compare it to would have been the Alfonso and Beulah, but that one relied a lot on like the blood. But I thought this one was more entertaining as far as I enjoyed sitting there watching it, and it wasn't just a bloodbath.
Right.
So I mean, I had fun. I mean, I knew it was obvious what the finish was going to be. There was one part where Robinson slammed the shit out of Mona.
Yeah, oh my God, that thud. And then how about when Medusa hit Asia right in the back of her fucking head, square in the crown?
This fucking Asia gimmick was horrible.
I loved it.
Let's blatantly rip off China. No, she's bigger than China. She's fucking Asia with a Y.
What do you mean?
I'm not gonna get into this with you this week, Cheyenne.
I don't think she'll rip off it.
She's not a rip off of China?
No.
How?
They don't dress the same.
Fuck you.
One's a blonde, one is black hair, a hybrid.
The name?
2 different countries.
First of all, Asia is not a country. It's a continent. And China's in Asia.
I beg your pardon.
How about Flair telling Medusa he wanted to take her to Space Mountain?
Oh, yeah. So that was great. And I do not blame him, too, because Medusa looks fine fine in this one.
But she doesn't like this, this period.
How about Rick, Little Nate, that's how confused I got, hitting the Flair flop, the Flair flip, and
that's what I'm saying. It was
flop off the top.
It was great.
Even Gorgeous George's stuff was good. Gorgeous George probably could have been a wrestler if she would have kept it up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she probably had. Medusa and Mona training her were both great competitors. I think I went in with very low expectations because I don't remember seeing either of them ever work, and I was pleasantly surprised. I really wasn't. I wasn't expecting the match to be that good or that entertaining, or at least have that many spots. I thought it was going to be one of those where where Macho and Flair would end up doing all the work.
Yeah,
and they really didn't do much.
The best was
the second rope elbow drop.
When he does all the spots, and then he does the Flair flop at the end.
Yeah,
and Shivani and Heenan at the same time go, he is Ric Flair. That was pretty cool. Next up we had I'm
surprised. Are you surprised they never did the Little Nate gimmick in WWE?
I don't remember them being talks about it.
The only time it's ever been referenced was that one time he helped Charlotte when they did the screw job, and he helped Charlotte.
Oh yes, the relationship. Yes,
that was the only time it was ever referenced.
Yes.
And that was 15 years later.
Yeah. No, I don't know if it was ever brought up to do in WWE. I can understand why they didn't. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it was entertaining as hell.
Yeah.
And, Charlie got in the ring a couple times over Rick. It was awesome.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, that they gave, Charles Robinson and even, a few years earlier with Nick Patrick, where they gave even the referees an opportunity to develop characters.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Kenny Powers' character on Eastbound and Down, the look is inspired by fucking Nick Patrick.
Nick Patrick has to be.
When I first saw the poster, I was like, that's Nick Patrick.
Yeah,
the mullet and the goatee. I mean, and I think it might. I mean, well, the show didn't come out that long ago, but I think because even Will Ferrell's character on that show is inspired by Ric Flair. Yeah.
Nick Patrick is whose son again? The
Jody Hamilton?
Yeah. But Jody Hamilton worked under a mask, though, right? He was the assassin, no?
Yeah.
Right? He was the assassin. I get it right?
I believe so.
Okay. Then we get Scott Steiner and Buff Bagwell. I skipped this. What did you get?
The only thing was Buff Bagwell imitating him in the promo. I thought was pretty funny. But,
yeah, that was pretty cool.
Basically, Rick Steiner helped Scott retain the belt, so this was pretty much...
To return the favor, okay.
This was pretty much the reunion of the Steiners.
Okay.
I mean, and they would come out again in the show, but this was the reuniting of the Steiner brothers.
Right. Well, how was the match? I didn't see this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, if I'm not mistaken, we have Sting and Goldberg, right?
No, I think it was Piper and Flair.
Right, Piper and Flair, right. That was the popcorn match in between. Piper, not popcorn, the Steiner Bagwell was the popcorn. Piper and Flair, who have wrestled each other a dozen times, it was mostly striking.
Yeah.
Piper and Flair went through all the spots that they had done, in their first loop in the Carolinas and during the WWF era. Piper takes an ass kicking as he pretty much takes on 4 people.
Yeah.
With Rick, now you got Little Nature's the ref, and now you got Arn and Asia at ringside. It was not their best match, because I always feel like their best match was 2 years prior at Bash of the Beach in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
But this was without question the most entertaining.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. Like I said,
they had me hooked.
Anything outside of the opening tag match, anything with Flair was watchable and entertaining on this show.
Yeah.
So pretty much anything with the Horsemen, because the Horsemen were in the opening match too. So anything with the Horsemen on this show was good. Everything else was not.
They didn't know they were in the match either. That week. And then Flair gets the win. Eric Bischoff makes his grand return, reverses the decision against Piper, and now Piper is still the commissioner of WCW. Mm-hmm. So we got an Eric Bischoff face run coming your way for like an hour. Sting versus Goldberg. I was very excited to watch this match because I never saw it. I want to see it as a kid. This would be the equivalent of John Cena and Batista, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, it was hyped up as the two franchise players in WCW.
It was much shorter than I thought it was going to be. Why do you think that is, Bosch?
Maybe they didn't have that confidence in Goldberg to have a long match.
Well, plus he had the injury, too.
Yeah.
Got the knee injury.
Yeah.
Pretty cool for what it was. It was just a little short for my taste, and mostly because it's what I want to see.
They did wrestle the year prior, like right before. Didn't they wrestle like right before Goldberg won the belt?
If I'm not mistaken, this was their first time on pay-per-view.
Well, he faced him on Nitro where he was still Wolfpack Sting. I remember that match.
Yes.
It was right before he won the belt.
And 3 months later, when Hulk Hogan turns back to red and yellow, they're teaming with Hogan on top of it. Mm-hmm. And then Sting, gets a heel run in the fall. Very quick. The coolest thing was the spear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That was cool. The first time I'd ever seen it. Then we get to the ending, Bosch. Take it away.
Bret Hart comes out and just whacks Goldberg on the head with a steel chair.
No hands up. Cracks him across
and
the
this steel
skull.
chair, was it me or was this steel chair heavier than any other steel chair?
It was heavier. First of all, it was the dreaded blue steel chair.
Because it looked like Bret was struggling to pick that chair up. It looked heavy.
Well, it fell out of his hands getting in the ring.
It looked heavy.
You could tell it was a fixed chair because of the sound, and it didn't budge.
Yeah. I was just like, holy shit, that was more hardcore than the damn hardcore match.
Yeah, so Goldberg gets the win since technically Flair came out to help Sting. Mm-hmm. And then
the Steiners come out.
We have your main event.
Well, the Steiners come out and beat them both.
Oh, that's right. The Steiners come out and screw them both. That's right.
Yeah.
So we have our first feud. Also, just quickly point out that, because we already passed it, but before the Bam Bam Bigelow match, we see interaction between
DDP
and DDP. So this is the beginning of the Jersey Triad. Bosch.
Which I was also marked for.
Yes, me too. Take me through Nash and DDP.
Another not so great match. This match was long. Yeah. I would have taken time off for this match and put it on Sting and Goldberg.
That's true, depending if they're injured or not, you mean.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was another, I was kind of disappointed when Macho Man came out and helped DDP, and then I was like, oh god, we're getting another shitty finish.
Well, let me run through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Back and forth, mostly strikes in the beginning. DDP takes a powder, has a horrible time getting back into the ring. Page hits a blatant low blow right in front of the ref. Then all of a sudden, he's got a pair of scissors in his crotch, cuts open a ring post, a turnbuckle rather, and then out of nowhere gets a microphone and whacks Nash with that. That was just all over the place. Nash does get caught with a sweet diamond cutter on the outside of the ring, though.
Okay, yeah.
Then we go right into the finish, and DDP got some more help from Randy Savage, and then what happened?
It was a DQ, so then Bischoff comes out and restarts the match, and Kevin Nash wins the belt.
Your thoughts on this match before we get on the show as a whole?
Not that good either.
Yeah, this was a letdown because when you look at this roster, all the tools are there.
I think the bar was set so high with that opening match that I got excited, and it just let me down. Well, because you had DDP and Nash in the main. Those are two Hall of Famers. You had Goldberg and Sting, who were like the two big names out of WCW. One Hall of Famer, one future Hall of Famer. Both even still going. Like Goldberg's just finished wrestling, and Sting was wrestling a year and a half ago. And that match wasn't all that great. Even Piper and Flair, two legends, didn't have. It was entertaining, but it wasn't their best match.
No, it wasn't. It worked for what it was.
You got Steiner and Bagwell, who were both pretty good. Who else? Yeah, I mean, maybe this is why I don't remember this show, and I remember all the, like at least.
It could be.
I mean, at least I can go back and remember moments. Like I can remember Mysterio taking off his mask or DDP winning the belt, but like I really nothing on this show was enough to stand out.
As
20 years later.
I kept watching it, all the angles came back to me.
I mean, I think
they all did.
The angles come back, but nothing from this show. Like I really. Like, there's times where I watch shows and I'm like, oh, I remember this. And, like, this one, I don't remember it. All right, so, like I said, I want to try to figure out who's face and who's heel on this show.
Okay, let's see.
Let's start with DDP. Looked like he was...
DDP...
Looked like he was a heel, right?
Heel.
Okay. Kevin Nash.
Face.
Who is a member of the Wolfpack because he came out with the Wolfpack music. Scott Steiner also came out with Wolfpack music.
That's right, he did.
So, Steiner's clearly a heel. Both Steiners, correct?
Yeah.
All right, Macho Man.
Randy is a face who then turned heel at the end of the night.
Okay. Flair, heel.
Heel, hands down.
Piper, face.
For now.
Sting.
Face.
Face, a little heelish, but going after the knee, but face.
Yeah.
Goldberg.
Face.
I think the big confusion for me was Macho Man being a face earlier in the show, but then helping the heel, and Nash being associated with the Wolfpack, and Scott Steiner's also associated with the Wolfpack. So I think those were the two big confusions for me on this show.
I can't tell you what Knobs and Bigelow were.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't tell you what they were because I don't know myself. I think Knobs came out as the heel. I think so.
Yeah.
Then we have what's next? Conan and Stevie Ray.
Oh, Conan's face.
Yeah. If you've never seen Conan's work from circa 93 to about 95, and he has a great match at 96 for Ric Flair, 97, I definitely recommend that.
I thought the match that Flair's always bitching about that he had to put Conan over.
Because
there was like a point in time where every week on his podcast he would complain about having to put Conan over once. I was like, okay, we get it. You hate Cubans. But yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. And then you have Conan, who's a face. NWO is they're them. Mm-hmm. And then you had two faces and one heel team in the three-way tag team match. Plus, even Arn Anderson was getting booed. Mm-hmm. So, it was tough. I'm going to give this one a 6.
I'll say like a 5. The opening match was good, and anything with Flair was entertaining.
Yeah.
But for next week, we have No Mercy 99, which was their first UK show.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
And that one is...
Haven't seen that since VHS.
Okay, let me go through the matches on this one. No Mercy. The main event is Steve Austin, Undertaker, and Triple H. We have Billy Gunn and Mankind. Rematch for the European title. Shane McMahon versus X-Pac. Nicole Bass versus Tori.
Yeah.
Kane versus Mideon. Steve Blackman versus Droz. The Ministry of Darkness. Viscera, Farouk, and Bradshaw versus The Brood. And Tiger Ali Singh versus Gilbert. Now, this didn't air in the U.S., right?
I don't think it did. I'm just trying to contemplate.
So then I don't think I would have seen it then.
What of Johnny Angel's will am I going to get?
Okay, we also have Judgment Day 2001. I know we like to keep it pre...
This is a good one.
Pre-WWE purchase, but I was like, let me just throw this one in there because it's 2001. Steve Austin versus The Undertaker. Jericho and... Tag Team Turmoil. What teams were in it? The APA, Malenko and Saturn, the Dudleys, X Factor, the Hardys, Jericho and Benoit, and Edge and Christian.
Okay.
Kane versus Triple H for the Intercontinental title.
Okay.
Chyna versus Lita for the women's title.
Okay.
Rhino, Test, and Big Show for the Hardcore title.
What year is this again?
Huh?
What year is this again?
2001.
Okay. That sounds about right. Okay.
Kurt Angle versus Benoit in a 3 Stages of Hell match. So Benoit was on there twice.
Okay.
And William Regal versus Rikishi.
Well, of course, I gotta get the hometown boy in.
And then the other 2 matches were on Heat, which is Raven and Val Venus, and the Hollies versus Kai and Tai.
Okay.
And we have a ton of WCW this week.
Yeah, we got Slamboree's 94, 95. We got Capital Combat.
Let's start with Capital Combat. This is the show with RoboCop.
That's right.
So we have Lex Luger versus Ric Flair in a steel cage match. We have Doom versus the Steiners. We have the Rock and Roll Express versus the Fabulous Freebirds. We have Midnight Express versus Pillman and Tom Zank. Paul Ellering versus Teddy Long. A lot of tag team matches.
Teddy Long's on there.
The Samoan SWAT team versus Tommy Rich and Mike Rotunda.
Okay.
Mean Mark versus Johnny Ace.
Ah.
And the 6-man tag, Road Warriors and Norman the Lunatic versus Kevin Sullivan, Cactus Jack, and Bam Bam Bigelow.
Ha, okay.
This is an interesting show.
Yeah, it is.
And what was the next show? That would have been 92? Wrestle War.
Yes.
The Freebirds versus Terry Taylor and Greg Valentine. Johnny B. Bad versus Tracy Smothers. Scotty Flamingo versus Marcus Alexander Bagwell. Ron Simmons versus Mr. Hughes. The Super Invader versus Todd Champion. Big Josh versus Richard Morton. Brian Pillman versus Tom Zank for the Light Heavyweight Championship. The Steiners versus Takayuki Izukiya. And the one and only, come on, Hall of Famer.
The one and only who?
It's a Hall of Famer, Japanese.
Oh, my man, Tatsumi and the Fujinamis.
There we go. And Sting Squadron versus the Dangerous Alliance, which is
one of the greatest War Games matches ever.
Sting, Barry Windham, Dustin Rhodes, Ricky Steamboat, and Nikita Koloff versus Steve Austin, Rick Rude, Arn Anderson, Bobby Eaton, and Larry Zbyszko, with Paulie Dangerously and Medusa in their corner.
Yes.
All right, we have a couple of Spring Stampedes. We have 94 and 95.
Okay.
Let's see. 1994, we have Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat for the
That's right.
World Heavyweight Championship. Would this have been one of their last matches?
Correct.
Vader versus the Boss. Who's the Boss? Oh, Ray Traylor.
I was going to say, isn't that Boss Man?
Yeah. Bunkhouse Buck with Colonel Parker versus Dustin Rhodes. Sting versus Rick Rude. Steve Austin versus the Great Muta. The Nasty Boys.
Forgot about that.
The Nasty Boys versus Cactus Jack and Max Payne. Lord Steven Regal versus Brian Pillman. And Johnny B. Bad versus DDP. Oh, this is a good show. And last but not least, Slamboree 95. We have Hogan and Randy Savage versus Ric Flair and Vader. Sting versus Big Bubba Rogers. Ming versus Road Warrior Hawk. Arn Anderson versus Alex Wright for the TV title. The Great Muta versus Paul Orndorff for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
That's correct.
Wahoo McDaniel versus Dick Murdoch. Kevin Sullivan versus the Man with No Name. And the Nasty Boys versus Harlem Heat.
Wait, what about No Name?
The Man with No Name.
Okay.
And what are these matches? Oh, they were matches recorded for main event, which would have been the Blue Bloods versus Los Especialistas. Steve Austin versus Eddie Jackie. Sergeant Craig Pittman versus Mark Starr. And Ming versus Brian Pillman in a United States Championship. Well, those are for main events, so they wouldn't be on the show. And the longest match is Pillman and Ming for 4 minutes and 40 seconds. The rest are squashes.
Well, that sounds like the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah, so the poll is already up on the Facebook group for people to vote on. Which one are you hoping to win?
Oof, that's tough for me because they all mean something or mean something to me personally. Mm-hmm. I went with the safest, and I went with the Wrestle War.
I'm still gonna look into these and make my decision. I haven't usually I know which one I want, but this one I'm stuck, so I don't know which one to go for.
Nah, I gotta do some analytical research on this.
Yeah. Are we covering any other news? Congratulations to Brie and Daniel Bryan on the birth of Birdie Joe. She was about she was a little over a week late, but I'm glad everything went smoothly and the baby seems to be healthy, and I'm extremely happy for them, both of them. I know when I met Brie at the signing, first thing I said, I hugged her and said congratulations. So I'm really happy for both of them. It's funny, I was extremely comfortable with Brie, and then Nikki, I'm like, hey. But yeah, I'm very happy for them. And what else do we have this week? Okay, I guess we got nothing. Did you reach up there? Did you find anything up there?
That's tough. Ooh, it's better if I go into a comment on that.
On what?
On what you just asked me.
If you found anything up there?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to talk about this Orton and Bully Ray thing or no? Apparently Cheyenne's still reaching up there looking for something. I don't know.
What am I reaching for?
I don't know. You always check up there and you got nothing. I don't know. Maybe you got nothing this week.
I got nothing.
All right.
I got nothing. What? That's a tough poll. That's going to be tough. What do you think's going to win if you had to predict it?
Out of these?
Yeah. I think it's going to be a later show.
If it's within the group, I see Judgment Day 2001.
Yeah, I think it's going to be that or Slamboree, for the sake of it being Slamboree.
I can, considering the group is very WWE heavy as far as the fans, I can see, and especially Attitude Era.
Yeah, true.
I can see Judgment Day 2001 winning by a landslide.
Well, the voting is open on our Twitter, and hypothetically
I feel like
speaking,
Attitude Era usually wins when it's on the poll.
Oh, and on the Facebook group? Oh, yeah.
Because last week we had like 2 pre-Attitude Era In Your Houses. Because we had the first In Your House and Cold Day in Hell.
Yes.
Which I watched for my Keeping Up with 20 years ago. But
okay.
But yeah, whenever Attitude's on that poll, I can see it winning.
Yeah, well, it's 4. The other picks are foreign to people in a way.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that might be foreign to people, hypothetically speaking, if our fans want to get a hold of us on social media, how would they go about doing that?
At 4Life Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and Facebook.com/4Life Podcast.
Bosch, I don't know if you noticed this week, but the temperature's going to be rising. The weather's going to start looking up. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. I checked the weather. It sucks because I have community service day on Wednesday, and I'm going to be outside fucking digging and pulling out weeds and planting and
getting your hair messed up. I hear you crying already. What I'm getting at here, sir, is if somebody wanted to enjoy the nice weather while sporting one of those nifty 4Life Podcast t-shirts, how do they go about doing that?
Redbubble.com/people/4Life Podcast. Ooh, that was seamless.
That's redbubble.com/what?
Redbull. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Why do you have to do that to me? I was on a roll.
Hey, I got to do my questionnaire. Anybody we got to talk about put over this week?
WCW at Worldwide at WCW _Worldwide. We did kayfabe. Meanwhile, 22 pages later, we aired their commercial. The girls that you always advertise.
Shout out to Kylie and V. Going to shout out John Hart and the Hardway podcast and the Professional 3. If you enjoy the WWF magazine style articles, that's the way that John likes to write his stuff. Very, very good, very entertaining. I want to also shout out Ace 4 Wrestling for having a killer kick-ass show this past week, Aftermath. We're going to come back, see you on June the 3rd at the Morgan Jr. Arena, 67 Hathaway Street, Wallington, New Jersey. Special shout-out to Dan Moff and Crowbar for having a killer, stellar, kick-ass main event this past week at Aftermath.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic. And now it's up there. Now. Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing. I got nothing else up there. You know what that means?
Means when you're listening to your podcast,
you listen to it for
life.